So in this episode, we get a lesson in determinism. You know, the typical sitcom storyline. I'm not sure how this show was able to provide 4 seasons of philosophy lectures and have it be funny and entertaining, as well as moving, but they have so far. So pretty awesome. Welcome back to another episode of The Rank. I'm John, and today we're going to be ranking another episode of The Good Place. Now, if you're enjoying these episodes, or if you're just a fan of The Good Place and you enjoy consuming content about it, please consider subscribing and or following. Like the episodes, comment or email your questions, concerns, suggestions, whatever to info@therankpodcast.com. Please also consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/therankpodcast. Now, today we're ranking the 7th episode of the 3rd season of The Good Place, titled The Worst Possible Use of Free Will. Written by Cord Jefferson and directed by Claire Scanlon. Now, just a quick personal announcement. My wife and I just had a baby on August 5th.
Another one?
So I'm going to try to continue to stay up with these episodes so that they come out on the same days every week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. But hopefully you guys will give me some leeway if I miss some here. But yeah, new baby. It's exciting stuff over here.
Yay.
All right, so back to the episode. Now, the whole point of this series is that we're trying to figure out what's the best sitcom of all time. So we rank every individual episode, and then we take those rankings and average them out, and that gives us the best sitcom of all time, hopefully. And of course, today it's The Good Place, but let's go on to find out what those rankings are going to be, starting with Potent Notables.
Potent Notables.
Now, this episode aired Thursday, November 8th, 2018. Now, they've gained 100,000 viewers from 2 weeks ago, going from 2.672 million viewers 2 weeks ago to 2.718 last week to 2.772 this week. So literally exactly 100,000 viewers. What I do find interesting is that it looks like it's an NBC problem more than a Good Place problem, because it actually just barely lost to Will and Grace, which was the 9 o'clock show. And it had nearly 1 million more than the 9:30 show on NBC, which was I Feel Bad, whatever that is. I don't know. I just noticed it. So here I go talking about it, and I'm spending too much time on it. Antonio's probably going to cut this, and he should.
No, I don't think I will.
Either way, it didn't hold its lead from Superstore, which had 500,000 more viewers, and it lost to everything in its time slot except Supernatural on the CW, as far as broadcast channels are concerned. It got beat by Grey's Anatomy, Young Sheldon, and NFL Thursday Night, which had the highest viewership of the night. Who was playing? Now, I know Antonio wants to know.
I really don't.
The Steelers beat the Panthers 52-21. Just because I was curious, because it was such a high score, Roethlisberger threw 5 touchdowns that day.
Who?
Wow. All right, so the bottom of Michael's chart about Eleanor reads, page 4,815 of 162,342, which is a nod to the numbers 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42, commonly featured in Lost, which is kind of a little fun thing there. And lastly, for our last Potent Notable, we got some more Tahani name dropping, and this time she name drops Barbra Streisand, saying that she was a friend who gave her a cloned Siamese cat, which killed itself. So there you go. Now, there's a whole list that I've done in previous episodes of all of the different name drops. I'm not going to do them here. Maybe it'll be at the end. I'll do them all again. But if you do want to hear them, you can go to previous episodes. But those are all the Potent Notables. Let's go to the episode overview. So in this episode, we get a lesson in determinism. You know, the typical sitcom storyline. I'm not sure how this show was able to provide 4 seasons of philosophy lectures and have it be funny and entertaining, as well as moving, but they have so far. So pretty awesome. We start out the episode in an Arizona public library because Michael and Eleanor needed some solitude, which is a fun jab at Arizona. This show tends to equate Florida and Arizona, and it's a good time. Though it does feel like they may have alienated some potential viewers by basically telling everybody that everybody in Arizona and Florida are dumbasses.
It's a known fact.
That being said, if you take your state that seriously, this wasn't the show for you to begin with, no matter where you're from. Now, why did they need solitude? Because this episode led off with the repercussions of Michael's revelation to Eleanor at the end of the previous episode, in that she declared her love to Chidi in the afterlife. Michael is reticent to show her what happened in the afterlife for a couple of reasons. One, because it's pretty intense, as only 3 seconds made her bald, which was a fun bit. And the other is that he didn't want her to see him being so cruel and torturing her. She was very forgiving to him for that, saying that she couldn't be mad at a demon for doing demon stuff. essentially, which, makes sense, but still, I might still be a little mad. Now, the most fun for me was to see everyone back in the neighborhood doing neighborhood stuff again. I thought that was a lot of fun. We get a bit that we never saw in any of the previous episodes where they get to pick an animal, and Eleanor chose a lizard, Tani chose a mirror centaur, which is just so narcissistic, and Jason wanted a mythical creature, a penguin. Thank you, Jason. Of course, Chidi struggles to choose between two puppies, because of course he does, and he ends up with an owl, which he's terrified of. Naturally, the animals were picked with a design to torture them all, but it doesn't end up working because Eleanor tells Chidi to go to the event they had planned because she lost the lizard. This event was where they get to essentially switch places with the animals that they chose, which means Chidi would have been able to fly. But Chidi decides he'd rather be with Eleanor, and this kicks off their relationship, and we see it ends up with them saying, "I love you" to each other at Mindy's place, which was sweet and touching. That was the only part of this that we had already seen. Plus, Mindy St. Clair lets them know how Michael's been messing with them, although we didn't see that part of it. It's told to us. This naturally leads to the eventual confrontation with Michael, where they tell him they're not afraid of him because they're in love, and love is stronger than anything that he could do to them. To which Michael says,
"I could throw an elephant at you."
You think a thrown elephant wouldn't crush you because of love?
Now, this is a joke that really worked for me, and I imagine if you're watching this and you enjoy The Good Place, it worked for you too. And thinking of that actually made me kind of curious. What was your favorite joke of the episode? Maybe we could do that every week. I'd be interested to find out which jokes got you all the most. So anyway, this leads to Eleanor going into an existential crisis and getting defensive over her vulnerability. She does this by claiming determinism, and therefore she was never in love because Michael engineered it. Michael, though, doesn't give up on her and brings her back. It's a really nice moment to show the friendship between Michael and Eleanor and how close they've become. The episode culminates in the realization that Sean from The Bad Place has fashioned a portal to Earth, and Vicky is the first one through. Oh, I just remembered a recurring bit during this episode that every business/public building in Arizona has a porn shot in it after it closes. That's good stuff. Just another one that I really enjoyed. Anyway, we end the episode on The Bad Place cliffhanger, so let's see how it ranked.
Oh, wait.
So the rank is where I rank the episode based on 5 categories: story, acting, dialogue, episode coherence, and character relatability. I rank it on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. And then we have a laugh counter where I tally up the amount of times the episode made me laugh out loud. 1 point per laugh out loud, and that gets added to the score. Now, before we dive in here, I just want to say if you're enjoying this episode, please leave a like. Let us know that you liked it. Helps us out. Thanks in advance. Now, the first category is story, which I gave a 4. The story is that we watch Eleanor learn about what happened in The Bad Place when she was being tortured by Michael and how she fell in love with Chidi and one of the reboots. The story is also about her reaction to the news, so it's not really much of a story, and yet it really is. This was hard to rank because while it feels light on story, I still thought it was wonderful, and this is how you end up with a 4. So there you go. Anyway, let's go to acting, which I gave a 5. They're all just so excellent. Now, I don't necessarily want to single one out over any of the others, but this was an episode driven by Kristen Bell and Ted Danson, and it's just incredible. Now, I'm going to be upset when I get to the end of the season and find out nobody won an Emmy. I'll be super pissed if I find out that nobody was even nominated, which I feel like I'm going to find that out at the end. It's crazy. All right, let's go to the next category, which is dialogue, which I gave a 5. The writing on the show is excellent. I love the little jabs at Arizona throughout and how they write to their characters so well, and the growth that we've gotten to see from everyone. It's just so damn good. So let's go to episode coherence, which I gave a 5 also. I don't even know what to say. It was a great episode, and at no point did I feel like I wasn't following it. It's fascinating that we've only seen snippets of the reboot where Chidi and Eleanor tell each other they love each other, and yet we know it. I wish we could see a season of that. It looks great. So let's go to character relatability, which I gave a 5. Who couldn't relate to being afraid of being vulnerable or wanting to protect a friend from seeing something bad about yourself? It's such a well done show. So there we go. High rankings all around. So as long as it has a somewhat decent laugh counter, it's going to be in the top 2 tiers likely. And I had 16. So there you go. That puts the episode total at a 40, which means it is just into the meaning of life. And this puts the series average at a 38.4, which is in the holy grail. So thanks for listening and or watching. If you'd like to see a list of our episode and series rankings, you can do that on our website at therankedpodcast.com. Remember to subscribe, review, and comment, and please consider supporting us on our Patreon site at patreon.com/therankedpodcast, where you can get access to all of our archived episodes. And remember, if you like the episode, please leave a like. Let us know that you liked it. But I will leave you with this. Now, originally this episode was going to be about misusing Matt Damon, and the original title was The Worst Possible Use of Goodwill. Oh, Antonio's gonna hate that one.
You're enjoying this, aren't you?
Now, just a quick announcement for personal. Now, just a quick personal announcement. Now, just a quick personal announcement. Oh, fuck. Now, just a quick personal announcement.
Today, Junior?
And I wrote it. So basically, I wrote stupid.